Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host Gershwan and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today, we start talking about the Orks, as we figure out what a Waaagh is and how to gather a Waaagh. If you guys have any suggestions for other topics, please comment down below. And if you're new to the channel, we post Warhammer 40K content every single day, so subscribe. With that said, let's get into 40 Facts About the Waaagh. The Waaagh is the name given by the Orks themselves to the massive military campaign they periodically unleash on the galaxy. It is part of their eternal desire to seek out combat and war. An Ork Waaagh is a war on an apocalyptic scale. Orks beyond counting swarm from one world to the next. Whole civilizations are exterminated and defenders' armies laid to waste as the Orks plow ever onward in an unstoppable tide. First and foremost amongst all Orkoid instincts is the literal need for an Ork to wage war. Orks need war just as a human or Eldar need food and water, and over the long millennia of their existence, the Greenskins have become very good at it. Due to their inherently aggressive nature, Orks constantly fight amongst themselves to prove who is the strongest, sharpening their inborn warrior skills and weeding out the weak, though this process usually poses little threat to the larger galaxy. However, Ork populations can reach a form of critical mass that could unleash a full-scale interstellar migration of Greenskins. This violent migration and the planetary assault that results from it is what Imperial savants refer to as the Waaagh, a crusade of pure aggression that crashes through multiple star systems in an absolute orgy of fury and violence. A Waaagh usually starts small, perhaps even as small as a single Ork, who is visited by the Orkoid deities of Gork and Mork, with dreams of greater carnage. He will imprint his vision to others of his kind, through repeated blows to the head, or if he is of a more intellectual bent, he will build a great Ork war machine like a Gargant that is the very image of his savage gods. Rumors of the coming Waaagh will spread through the local Orkoid society, and the Orks begin to unite. New warbands join the growing throng with every passing day. An Ork war boss will fight his way to the top of the hierarchy of this growing greenskin horde, and earn the status of warlord, adding the armies of those clans he has conquered in his own horde. As news of this new position spreads, the trickle of Ork reinforcements will grow into a green flood. Ork mechs will begin to collaborate on more and more outlandish projects, building ever larger war machines and weapons for the Waaagh. Smoke-belching mobile fortresses and titanic war engines are cobbled together out of nothing more than heaps of scrap metal and always heavy-handed enthusiasm of the Greenskins. With each victory, the new war boss legend grows, and more followers flock to his blood-soaked banner, as he fights to retain command of his ever-growing horde against a constant stream of challengers. He will subsum the armies of those he conquers into his own tribe. Gorkanauts and Morkanauts appear in growing numbers, with pilots seeking out the Waaagh with a feverish instinct. Whole mobs of mech boys raise tower scaffolds within the Stampas, and ever-Gargants start to take shape. These mighty effigies igniting some primitive drive within the minds of the Orks who see them, causing the flow of Waaagh energy they subconsciously generate to reach a fever pitch. At this stage, there is still much rivalry between the various clans and tribes, and each will strive to outdo all others, in terms of the sheer destruction that can be brought by their war machines. Those mechs without the resources to construct Stampas and Gargants will instead create mobs of clanking Kilikans and Death Dreads, or battle wagons, from which the war boss can lead his armies to war. Soon the emergent Waaagh begins to span worlds instead of just continents. Entire native populations are forced into slavery, merely to manufacture ammunition for the Horde's guns. Crude factory ships and warhawks are bashed into shape, the better to transport the Ork armies into battle. When the lure of imminent bloodshed can be resisted no more, the deadly fever washing through the Horde overflows. teeming orc armies mass and swell with a roar like a savage ocean, and the skies fill with crude and bulky orc spacefaring vessels. While these master works of destruction take form, even more greenskins are drawn towards the horde by the impending promise of these massive war machines, using the exciting carnage they will reap. Most of the orc boys of the horde simply relish the chance to get into a real good fight, but those amongst their numbers who dream of becoming part of a truly awesome vista of destruction often choose the role of crewman and gunner on mobile battle fortresses and stampas. There is always a great deal of continued rivalry between the clans and tribes of the Waaagh, and each strives to outdo the other in their sheer killiness of their war machines. The grand musters that precede a full-scale orc invasion are an awe-inspiring sight. As the orc gather for battle, smoke from thousands of oiled engines fill the sky. The ground trembles beneath great wheels, tracks, and thunderous strides of towering gargants. Armies of greenskins stretch across the horizon, rising their banner high to proclaim their reputation and allegiance, their war cries audible for miles around. Looming gargants and morkanauts, bizarre artillery pieces, and force field generators chung, clank, and buzz amidst the green throng. Armadas of rusty vehicles rise, rolling thunderheads of dust into the atmosphere, while Dakajets roar overhead, leaving contrails of filthy smoke. Speed freaks rev their engines, and the boys fight their guns into the air as a carpet of Gretchen spread out in front of their army. Eventually, the battlefield is barely visible beneath the endless sea of green, each orc warrior certain that the ground will soon be stained red. Here the power of the Waaagh is palpable as a wave of raw aggression, and the orcs believe Gork and Mork are gazing eagerly down from the warp to see how their warriors will fare. Then, as one, with awe and almighty bellow, the orcs surge forward, and another world is plunged into unending war. Those greenskins that do not aid in the constructions of the Waagh's war machines seek out like-minded fellow orcs who fight in the manner that most appeals to them. The orcs call these groups cults, of which the vehicle-obsessed cult of speed is the most widespread and well-recognized in the Imperium, though by no means the only cult that exists in the orc society. The Storm Boys and Flashkits also represent cults, while those orcs who are unusually sensitive to the growing pool of gestal psychic energy surrounding the gathering Waaagh may become weird boys. Hundreds of other orc war bosses will add their own armies to the cause of a new Waaagh, as the greenskin assault begins to spread across the whole star system rather than just a single world. Entire native planetary populations continue to be enslaved as they work towards the same thing that brought them their end. Crude factory ships and warhawks are bashed together to produce further transports for the Horde, while a truly large Waaagh may ultimately infest a space hulk to move from world to world, or even hollow out asteroids and create a massive spaceborne orc fortress known as a rock. The orcs who launch a Waaagh generally have little in the way of coherent combat doctrines, like the other major intelligent species of the galaxy. Their only goal is destruction and mayhem, in a large and a quantitative scale. The orcs are a plague upon the other civilizations of the universe, a race of genetically engineered bioweapons whose true purpose was lost eons ago, but who still carry on the fight against anyone and any time, for no reason other than their own joy in destruction and slaughter. Once an orc Waaagh has gathered, with one almighty bellow to the heavens from the millions of orc throats, another world will be plunged into unending war beneath a surging greenskin tide. It is generally thought within the Imperium that over the last century or so, the orcs have become even more aggressive and warlike than ever before, and the number of Waaghs being recorded in all 5 segmentums is increasing. The Imperium has long theorized that the greenskin race possesses low-level background psychic abilities, a kind of gestal warp renaissance. Orcs, of course, neither know nor care about such things. Yet, as warp space becomes more turbulent, so orcs too are becoming more and more belligerent. This rise to new Waaghs has been most notable around warp space anomalies, and regions plagued by warp storms, with hundreds of greenskin invasions emerging from these areas every Terran year. Members of the Inquisition's Ordo Xenos have noticed a trend in the translations of glyph sequences found in Ork camps, which speak increasingly of the Call of the Gods, a phenomenon felt most keen by the nomadic Gorgonauts and Morgonaut pilots. The emergence of Weird Boys seems to be increasing exponentially also, with many claiming that they see visions sent by Gork and Morg. On thousands of worlds, the ominous silhouette of Gargants rise against the war-torn skies. The Ork's foes can only watch in horrific bewilderment as the phenomenon known as the Great Waaagh sees the greenskins flooding across the galaxy in numbers never before witnessed, slaughtering everything in their path as they go. Orks gather into various levels of organization. The first is the Mob, a squad-level unit of orks with similar ideals of how to act on the battlefield, generally led by a Nob, short for noble, but pronounced Nob. A number of mobs will gather together into warbands, which is roughly equivalent to an imperial company, although with a great variation in size and strength, led by a war boss. The largest ork organizational unit is the tribe or clan, a group of numerous warbands, all under the command of a war boss. Different tribes can be united by a powerful war boss known as a warlord when he raises his Waaagh. And those were 40 facts about the Waaagh. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It really sheds light on a concept that I guess a lot of Ork players tend to forget, and that is that something big is coming. I know we have the story of God School Thraka, but the emergence of more and more Ork Waahs really inspires, I guess, me to create more and more killing machines. Comment down below, guys, if you want any other topics covered in our channel, any other Warhammer 40k stories or chapters that you guys would like us to create a video for. Please comment down below. And again, thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing. By you guys doing that, it really helps out the channel. If you guys want to help us out a little bit more, jump on over to Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you. And again, guys, thank you so much for everything. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.